guys, I'm Naveed sir again. Today we are going to discuss the balance of payments. The balance of payments is an account which records all the transactions related to international trade. So we are familiar with international trade, right? International trade takes place in two ways: imports and exports of goods and services, right? So let's talk about the exports of goods and services first. Goods and services sold to overseas is called exports. Goods and services sold to overseas. So when it comes to exports, let's assume this is a particular region, a country, country A. Country A sends, goods, right, and services to another tiny country, country B. So if they send goods and services, it is known as exports. And in order, country A wants particular goods or services from country B, then it is known as imports. So there are two types of exports and imports, right? First of all, we will talk about visible trade. Visible trade. Second one, invisible trade. Invisible trade. Visible trade is the trade which records the imports and exports of goods, only goods. It's visible. When it comes to invisible, it records the transactions of services, imports and exports of services. So visible trade is regarding goods. Invisible is all about invisible trade is all about services. So how do we import a service or how do we export a service? That's a question for each and every one, because we know the imports and exports of goods. If we export as a third world country, our country Sri Lanka, we are good in exporting tea, we are good in exporting our clothes, the garment, coffee, rubber. Those are our main components of export. And we import cars from Germany, cars from Japan, cars from India, right? And we import clothes from various countries, branded clothes, designer wear clothes. And mostly our import is consisted from Chinese imports and Indian imports. We import lots of toys, the raw materials, all those things from China and India. So that's regarding visible trade, goods. Now let's talk about invisible trade. Invisible trade. Now let's assume this is our country, Sri Lanka. This is Sri Lanka. Hope it is. And India, huge country. India. Assume that several Indians are coming to our country. Indians come to our country, right? Just let's say it's a cricket match between India and Sri Lanka, right? Indians, right, fans of India, they visit Sri Lanka. Soon as they enter the flight and they reach the destination, the Katnayaka airport, and they get off the flight and they get in an airport taxi. They have to pay for the taxi, right? It's in our country. So the export of a service starts from that point, the point where they pay for the taxi. They go to the hotel, they pay for the hotel, or they might have paid before, right, via transfers. So that's an export of a service. They go to the ground, they watch the match, they have to buy tickets, they have to buy meals. So those are exports of services, right? The services which we provide, which we have provided for these foreigners, right, are known as exporting a service. That's why third world countries like us are planning to increase the tourism, because it is a main source of an income. It's a service export. That's why we need more tourists. So we know if exports are increasing the imports, right, our balance of payment, our current account will have a positive impact. We will talk about that later. And this is an export of service, export of a particular service, export services. How do we import services? Now assume the next year we travel to India, right? Our fans, we will go to India, right? We will import their service in India. We will stay in their hotels, right? We will have their own meals. Traditional India is a very rich country when it comes to their culture and meals. Everyone knows that, right? So that's how we import services from another country. That's the easiest way, right, to understand this. So the next one, we will talk about the components of BOP, which includes the current account and the capital and financial account. BOP consists two accounts, the balance of payment. The main account is known as the current account. The second account is capital and financial account. Capital and financial account. Current account records all the transactions related to imports and exports, right? The main component of the current account is visible trade. Second one, invisible trade. And it records the transactions, right, regarding the interests, profits, and dividends paid to overseas asset owners and received from overseas, right? We invest in other countries, right? We might have saved money in another bank, in a foreign bank, in UK, in India, or whatever the country it is. We might earn an interest income. That particular interest income earned will be recorded in the current account, and the profits we earn from foreign ventures, that means if we have constructed a firm outside our country, right, it could be at Dubai, right, we will earn profits. That particular profits will be recorded in current account. And dividends, which is earned from companies, right, our Sri Lankan shareholders, they earn dividends annually from foreign ventures because they have invested their money. That dividends, the amount of dividends, will be recorded as dividends earned. It's in the current account. Then when it comes to capital and financial account, right, it states the transactions relating to savings, investment and speculation. Transactions related to savings, investment and speculation. So, as I told you all, transactions, right? The total amount of savings which is in a foreign venture, right? The total amount of savings will be recorded in the capital and financial account, and the interest earned from that savings will be recorded over here. The total amount of investment, that means we have several companies, you know, right? We have multinational companies over here. The investment of KFC, the investment of Pizza Hut, those franchises, right? The total value of those investment will be recorded in the capital and financial account, and the profits they earn, the dividends they have earned will be recorded in this current account. So it's basically, right, this knowledge is a vast area to be obtained, right? When it comes to A levels, right, AS unit 1, unit 2 hopefully, right? This is important. But now to have a good understanding about BOP, the visible trade and invisible trade in the current account, it's enough for you all. We know exports should be higher than imports, right? Then our income is higher than our spending. If exports exceeds the value of imports, then our current account will have a positive balance, right? Let's assume a particular year, the current account includes, right, exports minus imports of both, right? Exports, let's assume there are two balances, visible trade balance and invisible trade balance. Let's put these things together. Exports of goods and services and imports of goods and services, both visible and invisible. Let's assume export, the value of exports are 15,000 million US dollars during a particular year, and the value of imports is 12,000 US dollars, 12,000 million US dollars. Then we will have a balance of 3,000 million US dollars during that particular year. This particular positive balance is known as a current account surplus. This particular positive balance is known as a current account surplus. But this is a good situation for a country. But let's look into the bad situation. That's what we talk about the most. Exports, where imports exceeds exports. The next year, this particular country has got a value of 12,000 million US dollars of exports. It has been reduced, but the imports has been increased. Imports been increased. 12,000 minus 15,000 is equal to minus 3,000 million US dollars. It's a negative balance. Why? Our money has flown out more than we have earned. So it's a negative impact. It is known as a current account deficit. Current account deficit. So we will talk about the impacts of current account deficit on the other chapter, right? It continues with this, but before that we should know the relationship between the current account and exchange rates. Told you all children, there is a relationship between the current account and the exchange rate, right? We all know what is an exchange rate. One country's currency is expressed in terms of another. One country's currency which is expressed in terms of another is known as an exchange rate, right? Let's assume, right, this is euro, sterling pound, sorry. 1 sterling pound is equal to $2. 1 sterling pound is equal to $2. Let's assume the United Kingdom exports, America is a very huge country, USA, right, exports, that means they are sending their goods to USA worth of 1,000 pounds to USA, then USA should give them money. They are sending their goods, USA should give them money. To give money, USA should give pounds to them, not dollars. So they have to convert their dollars into pounds. So how many dollars should they give to convert it into pounds? Right? To give 1,000 pounds, USA should give, because this is equals 1 into $2. So 1,000 pounds be multiplied by 2. That means USA should spend $2,000 to obtain these goods. So USA is spending $2,000. USA is spending $2,000 in order to obtain the goods which is worth 1,000 pounds. This is the exchange rate. Now let's assume the exchange rate gets stronger. Stronger means UK's exchange rate is appreciated. Appreciated in the sense they get more dollars for 1 pound. Let's assume. Now 1 pound is equal to $3. 1 pound is equal to $3. Now if they want to get the same, now giving goods, to give goods worth of 1,000 pounds, USA, right, now how much should they spend in dollars? How much? Now 1 pound is equal to $3. So to buy 1,000 pounds, right, spend $3,000, right? It's 1,000 more than before, 1,000 more. So what will US citizens do? They will reduce, they will say no, the price is more, right? I don't want to buy goods from the UK, it's expensive now than before. So automatically USA will reduce the imports from UK and UK's exports goes down, right? So keep this in your mind, keep this in your mind. When the exchange rate is appreciated, exchange rate on UK side, exchange rate is appreciated, exports goes down, export goes down because it's expensive to the other country to buy. But it is the opposite, right? The imports will rise. We will look into that. Let's see what happens to the imports when exchange rate, right? Now, see, 1 British pound is equal to $1. To make the calculations easier, I just went according to a 1:1 ratio. Now UK imports goods worth $1,000 from USA. $1,000. So how much should they pay in pounds? How much should they pay in pounds? They only have to pay, right? 1 pound is equal to $1, so they have to pay. It's easy. They have to pay 1,000 pounds to buy from USA, right? This is the normal scenario. UK's exchange rate has been appreciated. That means for 1 pound was $1. 1 pound equal $1. And now 1 pound equals $2. They get more, right? Now let's see. Again, UK, they wants to import from USA, right? Same amount. Now they plans to import worth $1,000. How many pounds should they pay? 1,000 divided by 2 is equal to just 500 pounds. It's cheap, isn't it? Just 500 pounds to buy goods from USA. It's cheaper than before. So UK people are motivated to buy more, are motivated to buy more from USA. Automatically the imports rises, and we know due to an appreciation of the exchange rate, exports falls. So if there is an appreciation in the exchange rate, right, the imports rises, exports falls, so that a current account deficit could occur. It's not a good situation when the exchange rate appreciates as well. So now it's really easy, children, right? Just go through this, go through this picture, just put yourself as an importer and put yourself as an exporter. You all can get a proper idea, and we will talk about the exchange rates thoroughly in the future. So this is regarding the relationship between the current account and the exchange rates. You all have questions to answer in the assignment. I hope you all will do good, and thank you, children. I am your Naveed sir.